Hi, you guys. It's Elizabeth from Elizabeth's Oracle. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We're going to talk about the sun moving into Libra, the cardinal air sign, where it joins Jupiter. Yay! And finally, my special report on Jupiter that I've been promising you guys for months. So, here are the start times for each section so you can get to what you want. So, if you're new, welcome. And if you are coming back, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's talk about Libra. Okay, so what we're going to do is move through some charts again. And I like doing this at the beginning. I tried it last month. So that way you guys see the overall trends and where things are headed during the cycle. So on the 22nd of September, the sun moves into Libra a few hours after Mercury went direct. Yay! And then the next day, Venus is moving on into Scorpio. A few days later, we have a sweet little aspect here. Yum. It's like a cosmic kiss. This is awesome. This is the sun and Jupiter conjunct, meaning at the same exact point. You see them there in the chart. And this is also a big day, the 26th of September, because Pluto turns direct. Big stuff. And to keep the beginning of this cycle active, we turn to the 27th, the very following day. Mars, all that energy, moves into another cardinal sign, that of Capricorn, where it will be joining Pluto at the very end of the cycle for their conjunction. Next chart is for the new moon. This is like, yay, beautiful new Libra moon. Look at all the planets that I've highlighted in the lighter blue that are starting to line up in the cardinal versus all the purple that I've put the mutable in, the mutable signs I have in purple, just to help you guys see the difference. So we're starting to get a nice grouping, a nice shift, as you can see from the beginning, where we had about, well, that first chart would I have like 7 planets still in mutable and only 4 in the cardinal. Now we get to this point and you're seeing this nice sea change. Let's get to the next chart. That'll be for the 15th of October, the full moon. This is exactly opposite of where we started in terms of the cardinal to mutable ratio. So in this one, we have 7 planets in cardinal signs and 4 in the mutable. A few days later, Venus changes the trend because she moves on into Sagittarius out of Scorpio. So we start to bring some of that mutability back. But that's a big deal that we have that much cardinal energy coming in this time. So let's talk about that. Those are some charts and I'll reference them again as I'm discussing it, but I wanted you guys to kind of see where the energies are moving. So the sun is moving into the cardinal air sign of Libra. Libra is all about 7th house issues. So this is marriage, partnership, relationship, collaboration, collective energy. We are in a place in our lives where collaborating is the way to go. It's less about the self. It's opposite of Aries, the self-directed sign, and it is into other. So we think about that aspect. We also think about the fact that it is ruled by Venus. Venus, the planet of love, the planet of, I like it as a planet of plenty. It's love and money. But Venus is also about grace, beauty, art, tact, diplomacy. So you see it works very nice with that Libran thing of balance, harmony, equality, equanimity. So we have all those themes coming online. And we also, like I said, we have Jupiter there, and I'm going to do a bit more on Jupiter in a minute. But I want you to notice this cycle as the sun moves through Libra for these next 4 weeks. themes that start to emerge because Jupiter will carry the torch of what started through the next year. Remember, it is in Libra until October of 2017. So a lot of the themes that we have and a lot of things that get going now, we're going to have the momentum carrying us through for quite a while. So you should really start to feel a big change, especially since we went through all that massive mutability while the planets went through Virgo. And look, by the end of this cycle, like only the North Node is left back there in Virgo, people. We have really moved on. And in fact, I forgot to pull the chart, but here's the day that Mercury gets into Libra. And if you remember, before the shadow thing started, it had gotten all the way up to like 29 degrees and I forget how many minutes of Virgo, but it was like right on the cusp of Libra. And then it started to go backwards. And we had all that other, the big three that I talked about, the outer planets in retrograde. So this cycle, what the emphasis is on is new beginnings, finally being able to make some progress. I mean, when we talk about cardinal signs, we talk about initiation, new beginning, breakthrough, establishing new ground, and look how many planets we have moving on into cardinal energy. The sun is there. As I said, Jupiter will be there for a year. Of course, we've had Pluto and Uranus holding down the fort, but once we get Mercury traveling through, Mars connecting with Pluto, giving us a lot of energy down there in Capricorn, we're just going to have a lot more now. We're not out of the mutable thing altogether. So this may be a good practical example, you guys. Maybe something like if you're moving house. So that represents a new beginning, a new place you're going to live, something you're excited about, looking forward to. The mutable aspect here that's still in evidence in all these charts would be what you're releasing, what you're letting go when you, instead of having the movers come and paying all that money to have your stuff boxed and everything brought there, you sort through. You're like, I don't need this, I don't want that, I'm not paying to have this moved, so you let it go. Now you may be doing this more so in your relationships, which is a lot trickier, but looking at what things aren't working and the collaborative nature of Libra may have us go into counseling over a relationship, so maybe we can work it out and work through it, or the rest of this mutability will say, okay, time to move on and establish new relationships. So we're still gonna we do have a lot of forward progress, but I don't want to underestimate the mutability because Neptune's involved, and if the minute we think we know what Neptune is doing is the minute we deceive ourselves, because Neptune is all about deception, hidden stuff, it makes this indelible mark. And so I don't want to underestimate it. And it's in a kind of a sneaky angle. It's going to be in what we call a quincunx to the planets traveling through Libra. I'm going to talk about that next in the Jupiter section. But we do want to realize it's a time of transition. It will not nearly feel as intense as the Virgo cycle did. We really went at the very end of August before Venus moved into Libra. There was one day, I think it was about the 27th or 28th, I looked at the ephemeris and I was just like, it was only Pluto and Uranus in cardinal signs. The other 10 things that I watch were immutable. So if you feel like you just really were run through and hung out and wrung out and all of that the last couple months while we went through that whole mutable T-square, that period is clearing, and we really will see some forward progress during the cycle ahead. Now, I want to keep this video moving quickly, so let's move on to the Jupiter element. Okay, so I've been promised a Jupiter special for a while, and there are a lot of great videos. If you want to know how it's affecting your particular sun sign, Google that, because I'm not going to run through all 12 signs because it gets boring for the other 11 signs when somebody does that. So there's plenty of videos you can look at. I want to talk about the big aspects, because what we're going to have during the cycle when the sun moves there through Libra for 4 weeks, we're going to have like these touchstones, like we're going to set some tones about what is going to come in with Jupiter, what Jupiter is going to magnify and bring in. And there's some aspects I want to point out. One, when we have the Sun and then Jupiter in this position in Libra, we still have Saturn in Sag the whole time, and that does not at all have to be a bad thing. The Saturn aspect, again, is of course restrictions, limitations, a form, it's the rules, but Jupiter can over exaggerate. It can inflate itself, and remember, it's the most gaseous planet of the solar system. So if we look at these planets as a reflection of what's going on, we don't want to do that. So the aspect here in Sag is very harmonious, and remember, there's a connection. Jupiter is the ruler of Sag, so these two want to get along. Saturn is not trying to be a party pooper. He is just asking us to make sure we're being careful as we plan things. Those big plans come in, it's checking everything, and that's actually a help. And if we get too carried away, we are going to slam into Pluto, and we don't want to do that. Pluto is 90 degrees away, so we're going to have a Sun-Pluto connection here, and then we have the Jupiter-Pluto connections, these squares. You guys know about squares. That's the 90-degree angles, probably the harshest angles in astrology. And if we don't want to be in that rough space where we're forced one way or the other, we need to kind of pay attention to Saturn, which interestingly is the planet that rules Capricorn. So you see there's kind of a connection flowing between this alignment. So I feel like Saturn may be the yellow light on some plans where we're getting all excited about the new and all these things we're going to bring in. And if we don't listen to that guidance, Pluto will just slam on the brakes. So we can totally avoid that, and we're going to get those Jupiter aspects happening more in next year, as well as oppositions to Uranus. So Uranus is the wild card. It's, another big outer planet, and it's in Aries, so it's pretty freewheeling and crazy. And that can be a whole lot of fun. That can really be blowing open some new doors and things coming in from totally unexpected places. And over there in Aries, it's making a nice trine to Saturn. So a lot of people get down on Saturn. I just want to tell you, Saturn's your friend. I call Saturn like your coach or your trainer when you really want to lose the 10 pounds or whatever it is, and that person just says 10 more of whatever reps. You don't like it at the time. You're sweaty, you're tired, you want to say a lot of things you're not supposed to say. But if you do them and you get up at 6 in the morning and you get that extra run in or that extra yoga session, whatever it is, you reach your goal. So I really like these alignments because you're going to feel them as the sun moves through. Then you're going to get later this year and a couple of times into next year, these contacts with Jupiter. So see what's coming into being, see where the checks and balances need to be, because Libra will help with that as well if we listen. And then the final thing I want to point out, because I haven't seen a lot of people covering it, and I just think it's the coolest thing, is the quincunxes from the Sun and then Jupiter with Neptune. Now, in a nutshell, I don't talk about the quincunxes a lot because it's hard to explain, and I keep saying I'm going to make a video and explain it. I'm going to do that. So let's go ahead and do that now. So when we have the squares and oppositions, be they mutable, be they cardinal, be they fixed, notice they have the same modality, cardinal, fixed, or mutable. So when we have 90-degree or 180-degree aspects, everything has a certain connection because we're either all, like last month when we had the mutabilities, it was all about release. Now we're starting to get cardinal energy, so it's all about new beginnings. Fixed would be holding it down. When we have things that are in the trines, they're in the same element. So if we have a water trine, that means we have a planet in Cancer, in Scorpio, and in Pisces. So we have the same element: fire, water, air, or earth. Now, the I'll go ahead and explain sextiles. So the sextiles are either in the same polarity, positive or negative. So we have, if they, like in this example, we have things here between Sagittarius and Libra, both outward positive polarity. So they're outgoing kind of energy. Now, what is a quincunx in contrast to that? Technically, it's when planets are 150 degrees away from each other, but what happens is we don't have the same modality. So in this case, the Sun and then Jupiter are in cardinal. Neptune is in Pisces, which is mutable. So they're like speak completely different languages. And we also don't have them in the same element. Libra is cardinal air, and Pisces is a water sign. So it's like, again, when we have those trines, everything's in air, it works together. Or like in fire, where we have Aries, Uranus in Aries connecting with Saturn in Sag. They're both fire. So there's an understanding. Now, in that quincunx, we have none of that. It's almost like they're, I see it as being on two different frequencies, you know. Hope that doesn't sound too out there. I'm really trying to explain this. So, but what I picked up on is, for you creative people, for artists especially, this is magical. I mean, we've known we can draw on the Neptunian aspect to really, you know, whether it's virtual reality, meditation, just to enter alternative realms. And some people do that chemically, you know, but we achieve different states of mind and being, and it's all very ethereal and almost out there. Now, Libra is a thinking sign. It wants to apply it, you know, but yet it has that same intrinsic quality, that quest for beauty, because it's ruled by Venus. And so I love these two working together. Now, here's where they're going to be connecting. You'll see the Sun connection over the next month, but then we have 3 of these exact quincunxes, the first beginning on October 23rd, which is why I'm adding this section to the video, because you guys know when a connection involves an outer planet, Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto, it isn't just the day it happens. Obviously, those are slow builds and slow retreats. So this whole cycle will be building towards the new, but this is such a powerful aspect for drawing on in these deep intrinsic places of your imagination, your soul, your higher self, and then translating it, communicating, because with Libra being an air sign, you can communicate it to others in a way that they totally get and it translate, and yet it has this artistic aesthetic to it, you know, that it isn't just like rah, 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 you know, like you're explaining it. There will be something of that otherworldly quality that you can bring back, communicate when you're connecting in both of these realms. So I see this as such a powerful time for the creatives, be they in tech, music, actual art, graphics, film. Great aspect. So really wanted to point that out, and let's get to the resources. So I'm Elizabeth from Elizabeth's Oracle. I do a monthly video here on YouTube. If you'd like to subscribe, that'd be great. Either way, that's fine. I have a site. If you'd like a free monthly newsletter, feel free to join the mailing list. There are specials in there that are exclusive. Your information is always respected and kept confidential. And I also do an oracle message in there that's just for the newsletter community. If you want to know more about astrology, please check out Kristy's connection to the soul. That's my friend Kristy Ayala. We do a monthly supplement to these videos. She channels angel messages, and I think that angelic presence is here more and more and more. And so you can check that out on Blog Talk Radio. All the links are in the description box. And my last but not least, my little YouTube special here. If you want a reading, we can pull your chart. We can do just cards. We can do just intuitive stuff, whatever, you feel like resonates. But I can definitely do your chart and look at what's coming up and see how those things are going to interact. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, you guys. You'll feel such a lift. Please make sure to pay attention to that new Libra moon on the 30th of September. Excellent time for creating partnerships for you guys that are wanting an upgrade in your love lives, but really so much more of a melding. Such a time to get out, socialize, join new groups, meet up with new people, and to get out and mingle. So we'll see you next month when the sun goes into Scorpio. And let's enjoy the Libra. Okay, talk soon.